What was interesting is in the middle of the case we found out all this hullabaloo about him not paying support. We found out one of his children wasn't even his. And that's part of paternity fraud that exists. A lot of men getting set up by father shoppers, and they end up paying support for other men's children. So another reason I do this, when there are other areas of law where I could probably make substantially more money, is because I have a personal interest in this. My father was an ex-offender. I'm a child of divorce. I'm a parent of divorce. I have a brother who grew up in an orphanage, and he's an ex-offender. So I have a personal interest in doing this type of work. I just didn't wake up one day and figure this is what I'm going to do. This is very important to me. When I get up in the morning, I'm all charged up and passionate about trying to change laws, write new laws, and do something to help people that really are getting no help and nobody really cares about. And that's how I started doing this type of work, just like that little girl who was kidnapped. Nobody really cared about her except her parents. And even the police didn't find her. It was interesting. They called after she was recovered, and they wanted to know what we did, what my detective did, because they wanted to know the technique. Well, it was one of the craziest things I ever heard of. But getting back to this, not every judge in this country is gender biased or discriminates. A lot of them are, though, but not all of them. I just handled a case in Los Angeles representing the former director of the Oprah show's son, and we got a great result. It was a good judge. Part of the reason I was successful is because the opposing attorney was so insulting to the judge, it almost made it difficult for me to lose. But I'll give you an idea of one judge who was not gender biased. I was representing a father, and he had one child. And he didn't want custody. I was trying to talk him into visitation. He didn't want visitation. He didn't want anything. I said, at least visit. And he said, I live in the basement, and every time I try and get upstairs to the kitchen to eat, my wife's upstairs with a broom handle and whacks me in the head. I can't get out of the basement. So I said, well, let me get you out of that situation and let me get you some visitation. He said, I don't even want to see the kid. I got to get out of here. So I said, well, I have to do what you want. You're my client. So my firm tried the case, and the judge's decision awarded him custody of 3 children. So I figured out what's going on here. He only has one child. Where are the other 2 children from? So I read the decision, and what happened was this judge got the case mixed up with another case and gave him custody of 3 children from another case he was handling. So there's an example of a judge that was not biased, didn't discriminate. He just was not very competent. So the reality here is, what else do I do other than being a lawyer? I also chair a government agency, and I don't get paid for it. It's the Illinois Council on Responsible Fatherhood. I serve as the chairman at the pleasure of our governor. And the reason I probably was appointed to do this, because maybe they couldn't find anyone else that would work for free. I don't know. But one of the reasons I do this is right now, last time I checked, there were 24 million children living in America absent their biological father. And the U.S. is now the world's leader in fatherless families, even though financially we're a powerhouse. Now, I believe it was Margaret Mead who said a man is a biological necessity but a social accident. But if you look at these statistics, these stats speak to the contrary. The majority of teenage murderers grew up without fathers. Fatherless children are more likely to drop out of school. The absence of a biological father increases a daughter's vulnerability to rape and sexual abuse. So what that means is, it's not the presence of a biological father that increases his daughter's vulnerability to abuse. It's his absence. But in our communities, a lot of dads are absent, and that's the problem. And a lot of them don't want to be absent. But the one problem in our communities is related to the fact that these fathers are kicked out of their children's lives. They go to court, they can't get back in. They're fighting against all kinds of discrimination and bias, while the people in the community, and often the mother, is being supported in getting a father figure, a non-biological father figure, to be there for the child or children to supplement the biological father. So they sometimes bring in boyfriends, uncles, neighbors, and these people, unfortunately, sometimes molest the children because the dads aren't there. So it's a vicious cycle. It's a very dysfunctional cycle. And with fathers, if they're not there, it's hard to keep boys under control. Boys that are father absent are more likely to engage in violence. And especially in this society. Because in this society, when there's no dad there, and you have all these father figures that often don't even care about the children, these children end up watching TV, going to the movies, and they define manhood, malehood, based on what they see on TV. And what do little boys see on TV? How do they define being a man? Gang banging, selling drugs. You kill this guy and you're a man. Multiple sex partners, recreational sex, and you're really a man. That's how they define manhood because of the media. And there are no biological fathers there to help them. And one thing that I've realized in doing this work is a boy can't be what he can't see.